Allison Wickline met with her today and shares her story.
I have to do it.
This is 87-year-old Molly Neese. For the last 50 years, she has crossed these Norfolk Southern Railroad tracks to get back and forth from her car parked right on the other side.
I walk with my cane and I look before I go both ways, and I'll stop when I get on the other end and see if there's any car hear anything coming. I'll go on across.
But now Molly's path has changed. A no trespassing sign blocks her gate, and she can no longer park her car across the tracks. Norfolk Southern says it's a matter of safety, that a railroad crossing is the only legal way for someone to cross the tracks. But Molly says it's the only path she's ever known.
I raised all my kids here. They went across the track when a word said.
Since she can't cross the tracks, Molly will now have to park here in this field. Then she'll have to walk across this footbridge. She'll cross one more field before ending up back here at home. She says it's a tough trip for anyone, especially an 87-year-old, to take.
I think it's a long ways myself, or when you got arthritis in both legs, it hurts pretty bad.
Molly says the crossing was always a matter of necessity. The trip through her backyard is no easy feat. She once had a footbridge on the creek closer to her house, but floods have washed it away. Norfolk Southern did speak with Molly about the signs and the safety, but she says at the end of the day, she's just an 87-year-old trying to find a way to get home.
He said, "You know, we told you." I said, "Yes, you did." But I said, "That's the only way I got to get out."
So for now, Molly will drive one street over, cross the fields and the footbridge, and make multiple grocery bag trips. It may not be the best option, but it's her only option for now.
I don't know how long I'll do it, but I'm going to do it as long as I live. I said I'm not going to leave my home.
In Christiansburg, Allison Wickline, WSLS 10.
Last week, we brought you the story of Molly Neese, who had to walk nearly 3 football fields with a cane to get home after her footbridge washed out. A Roanoke area contractor saw our exclusive story and wanted to help. WSLS 10's Allison Wickline was there as work got underway today.
When we met 87-year-old Molly Neese last week, she was struggling to get in and out of her home. With train tracks in the front and a creek in the back, her path was pretty tough. But things have changed. After seeing Molly's story on WSLS 10, Randall Jenkins, a local contractor, stepped up to help.
It kind of got to me, seeing this little old lady having to walk, like 300 yards to get to her car, and where she'd been parking. The railroad says she couldn't do it anymore, and I was like, no 87-year-old woman should have to walk that far.
Randall is hard at work on Molly's new footbridge right behind her house.
I didn't think I'd ever get one until he come and told me he was going to build me a bridge.
As an 87-year-old on a fixed income, Molly knew paying for a bridge herself simply was not an option.
I couldn't do it, honey. I couldn't start paying for it, but I don't have no money left when I get my check. And so, I got no more money coming in.
Molly's determination to make it in and out of her home, crossing fields and a faraway footbridge, was amazing to see. Today, an act of kindness under construction for a woman filled with gratitude.
It's 100% to me, honey. I tell you, it'd be tickling me to death when he gets done.
The local Home Depot has donated nearly $800 worth of building supplies to help Affordable Measures complete this labor of love.
Makes me feel good. I'm glad I can do it for her. Like I said, no elderly person should have to walk that far, especially with bad legs and knees and whatnot, so I'm just glad I could help.
And Randall can breathe easy because this footbridge is now officially Molly approved.
And they're doing a good job, too.
She brings us the life-changing story you'll see only here on 10 News.
Anthony Robinson is putting one foot in front of the other for the first time in 10 months. This is Rewalk, a robotic exoskeleton that is giving Anthony hope that he thought he lost.
10 months ago, I was in a car accident, which left me paralyzed from my waist down.
Anthony is 22 years old. Last August, he was at Emory and Henry when he wrecked his car and his life changed. Now, 10 months later, he's here at Carilion. getting measured, and strapped in to take his first steps again.
I want that experience of walking again, and that's what that experience today felt like, was just getting up and standing again and taking baby steps.
ReWalk is designed for spinal cord injury patients. It basically shows the body how to move.
It was definitely a challenge for me.
But that's the thing about Anthony. After the accident, no challenge is too tough, no hill too high.
I can't wait to get back in it again.
And it helps when you have a room full of your family to cheer you on.
I was just amazed. That's all. I couldn't put the camera down, couldn't quit taking pictures and smiling and just seeing the smile on his face.
Carolian staff members had smiles on their faces too.
That feeling of being able to move again in an upright at that level again is just, it's a very emotional, rewarding experience.
With each step, Anthony is getting closer to his goal of walking across the stage at graduation next spring. Because after all, the sky is the limit when you refuse to be stopped.
Thank you.
You did great. Job.
I've always had the mindset of always moving forward and never looking back.
In Roanoke, Allison Wickline, 10 News, working for you. Breast cancer changed Ginger Bausman Roberts' life. After being diagnosed in 2015, she made the tough decision to have a double mastectomy. Cancer made it hard for her to look in the mirror.
It's just really new. Your clothes don't fit. You just don't feel normal.
The change in her body led Ginger here to Primpt 365, a permanent makeup studio in Christiansburg.
I'm essentially working with trauma victims and helping them to define how they're going to view their new body.
Primpt 365 offers reconstructive tattooing for breast cancer survivors. Janine uses this table of tools and her artistic eye to recreate the look of a typical breast.
What I wanted to do was marry my God-given talent in a way that I could help people and cancer survivors.
Janine says she felt compelled to offer the service to survivors after watching multiple members of her family battle cancer. What may simply look like a tattoo session is so much more. Ginger says the process has given her confidence and comfort.
It's taken this long for me to be happy with myself and feel like myself.
Today is Ginger's last session. Soon she will be able to look in the mirror and see a piece of who she used to be. A tattoo session cannot take survivors back to life before breast cancer, but as Janine says, it can make them feel beautiful, happy, and hopeful. In Christiansburg, Allison Wickline, 10 News, working for you.
Got some drops I'm going to put in your eye.
Here at the Roanoke Valley Center for Sight, Warren Cable is getting ready for a special surgery. He is one of 14 patients without health insurance who will receive free eye cataract surgeries as part of the 11th annual Gift of Sight Day.
Maybe 5 years ago, my eyes started getting blurry, and the last 2 years they just got tremendously worse.
Warren says he used to love drawing. He had no issues crossing the street or holding down a steady job, but his eye problems changed that. Today is his shot at a new way of life. The operating room is quiet but hopeful as Dr. Carly Griffith handles the life-changing procedure. The medical professionals here at the Center for Sight, including Dr. Griffith, volunteer their time for this special day.
It's just a fun day because everyone's here because they want to be here and because it's so important to the patients.
With every push of the pedal and move of the tool, Warren is one step closer to seeing again. And then it happens.
What do you think? Can you see out of that eye?
Yeah, I can read all this and everything. Is that supposed to be yellow?
Yeah.
Warren is seeing colors again. After he's wheeled out to the recovery room, he sees his dad's face clearly for the first time in years.
Hey, Dad, you're over there, man. How you doing, man?
He's having little victories, moments many people take for granted.
I'm reading that thing from here. I wouldn't be able to see that thing if it was right here before I came in here earlier.
So how does it feel to get the gift of sight back?
For a second there, I didn't have anything going through my head, but wow.
a little bit of shock, but mostly gratitude for the perfect Christmas gift.
I say thank you to all of them. You know, I can go back to get a job and maybe it'll send them Christmas gifts next year.
In Salem, Allison Wickline, 10 News, working for you. It's a beautiful day here on Smith Mountain Lake, and Larry Wood is taking it all in. At first glance, you may not notice something about Larry, but he has Parkinson's disease. His body shakes, and sometimes he stumbles.
It affected my way of life. When you retire, you expect on having a good life, and all of a sudden you find out it's not there.
Larry was diagnosed with Parkinson's 6 years ago. When the shaking took a turn for the worse, Larry started looking for relief. After watching a video about the effects of medical marijuana on Parkinson's patients, he wanted to give it a try.
If it would let me sleep, it'd be worth it.
He says the results were shocking.
And for 2.5 hours, I had relief that I hadn't had in 2 years.
Relief from the constant, exhausting movement. Larry says it was a battle between following the law and finally finding a moment of peace.
You know, I know it was illegal, but I was willing to do it because of the pain and suffering that I'd been through and the sleepless nights I'd had.
A recent brain surgery and this little handheld device help calm the shaking, but Larry is hoping for more. He celebrated today as the Virginia House of Delegates unanimously approved the bill to make it easier for patients like him to get a form of medical marijuana.
I know it's illegal and I know it's wrong, but when you can't sleep and you can't rest, you have to do something.
He hopes it's a sign that lawmakers will rethink cannabis oil as a hard drug.
If they had one family member who's had Parkinson's, it would do it. It would help them out.
While he knows many people still have concerns about legalizing any form of marijuana, Larry is hoping to reveal the reality behind a legislative battle still growing across the country. In Bedford County, Allison Wickline, 10 News, working for you. Danielle Durance is staying focused during an intense game of Uno. Today, she is at ACE Summer Camp, a camp designed for those with multiple developmental disabilities.
It's fun, and I get to be with my friends. I like it.
Activities Created for Enrichment, or ACE, is designed to give campers a chance to experience a typical summer camp, from arts and crafts to a little bowling, even a scavenger hunt at Explore Park. These kids are having fun without being limited by their disabilities.
We're providing them so much stimulation, so much good time, working on social skills and physical fitness, and it's so fun to see them do what other kids are doing.
A special staff ratio sets ACE apart from other summer camps. Many of these staff members will work with just one camper. Staff members say sometimes that makes all the difference.
These are kiddos that typically would not be successful in an inclusion setting because they need more structure or they need someone to keep them on task, and that's what our staff provide.
More than 30 campers will attend ACE at some point during its 7-week run this summer. ACE, an opportunity these smiling kids oftentimes don't get. In Roanoke County, Allison Wickline, 10 News, working for you. Kids oftentimes don't get. In Roanoke County, Allison Wickline, 10 News, working for you.